Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Sequential Consequence. Calm down, camera. I'm trying to do my intro here. There we go. Alright, guys, welcome to Sequential Consequence. My name is Nelson. We're going to be doing a review today. I don't really want to call it a review per se. I want to take this as more of a discussion rather than a criticism. But at the end of the day, this video is for you to know if you should pick up the story, if it's up your alley, if it's something that you would like. I'll discuss the build of the book, and I'll discuss the art and the story and all that. Just regular stuff. But I definitely want to touch on the build of the books because the collecting is a part of my channel. But yeah, this is a review for An Invitation from a Crab by Panpanya, and this is a really nice release by Denpa. Very cool release. It's got a really nice finish to it. It's got inside flaps with a really nice texture here too. And it's got flaps on both sides. And just really nice paper quality, super thick. And it kind of needs to be thick too because the inking in this series is super heavy. The artwork in general is very unique. Let me show you some right off the bat so you have some context to go off of when I start talking about it, because the art looks very different throughout. I mean, it looks different in general, but it looks quite different just as it goes along. Some will be a little bit more messy, some will be a little bit more artsy, some will be a little more... Some will have a lot more shading and whatnot. I'm especially fond of this chapter right here, which is a chapter where the girl that you see right there, she her station, she's in the train, she's asleep, and she thinks that her stop is up, so she gets out of the train really quick, and then she ends up getting lost in this in this city where she just doesn't know where she is. And I just think that the way that the city is depicted as kind of this messy, super messy background that's almost kind of abstract, and how she's just always depicted like that. She's the only constant in all of these stories in terms of art style. But yeah, I'm a really big fan of how it's all portrayed right here. But yeah, this is a collection of short stories. Essentially, all these stories are different and standalone, and but they all follow the same character. And in fact, this character also shows up. This character right here, this dog, also shows up as her own dog, but he shows up as a clerk in a different story. But some of these stories are dreams. Some of them are like actually confirmed as dreams within the story. Some you kind of are like given the impression that they're dreams, or they're just kind of these, I don't know, surreal thoughts. I don't know. Like like there's this one where she gets given a giant salamander, which is an endangered species, and she literally goes to the Amazon to to put it back. Like that manga just casually has her go to the Amazon to put the salamander back. I just think it's so cute. But yeah, she goes over there to put it back, and then at the end they find out that she finds out that the giant salamanders, actually indigenous to Japan. So she was trying to return it to its natural habitat, but the natives end up like just taking the salamander and exporting it again, because it's like, oh yeah, does not belong here. And a lot of the stories have punchlines like that. Here's another story with a kind of a slightly different art style. This one's a little bit softer, and this one's literally just about duck decoys that this painter puts on the lake, and he just paints the ducks. And then at the end, she's like, "Oh, do things change much day after day?" And he's like, "No, but I did become better at drawing water." And and then there are usually little essays right here, little excerpts right here after some chapters, where Panpanya like kind of ruminates about some of the inspirations for the each story. But usually she'll like kind of talk about some of the concepts in the story. Like here, she talks about flip books being the inspiration between these flip books, and how when you look at rain falling, you'll see a line instead of a dot. And she's talking about that kind of. She's using this to the concept of flip books and the way that we see rain and the way that our brains processes images that aren't quite there, kind of like my camera. Um, yeah, and she uses that to kind of explain the premise that and the concept that she's trying to explore with her story. There's another one here called Sensation, which let me show you some of the art for it, where the main character's coming back from work and she passes by a town where she can't really see much, but she notices these koi what are they called? Streamers that they use for Children's Day in Japan, and it's not Children's Day, so she's really scared, and this is kind of played out like a horror story, and but it's literally just a 4-page story, and it's played out like a horror story, and then she tells her friend the next day, and her friend is like, "That doesn't sound that scary," and she's like, "Oh yeah, I guess it's not." And then this little essay right here basically talks about just kind of the nature of darkness, and she even talks about when you close your eyes, is it darker than it is outside? And she just ruminates about like kind of concepts that are just kind of normal, mundane concepts that we all deal with every day, but she kind of injects this sense of surrealism to it. Here's one where our employer, at least I think that's our employer, because some characters look the same even though they're different characters. Our employer gives her what looks like food, but it's really a model kit. And that's just I don't know, just kind of like weird, just surreal, dreamlike things like that. Because she's like, oh yeah, it's pickled radish, but then it's not. But then it's just a thing to make pickled radish, and what do you know? It actually makes pickled radish. All right, just weird, just weird things like that. And there's another one where she's walking around looking for tetrapods. Let me get some nice art. This one's kind of cool because it's about she finds the birds making a nest in I don't know, like in the wall, I guess, and then these tanukis come in to steal them, and the tanukis are kind of like humanoid. They're kind of portrayed like humanoids, and she gets given an egg by the mother bird for saving them, and the tanukis are like, "Nah, we don't." And she tries to offer it to the tanukis, and they're like, "Nah." It's, I mean, it doesn't sound very endearing by the way I'm explaining. I'm doing an awful job, but it's some of these punchlines are just kind of cutesy, and they're just kind of uh, here, have some art, because I can't talk and explain the appeal of this story very well. This is another story that I like quite a lot. The Perfect Sunday. She basically spends the whole Saturday, all of Saturday, preparing to have the perfect Sunday the next day. So she makes all these contraptions to help her have a really nice day the next day, and then she finds out that it's actually Saturday. I mean, that it's actually Sunday right now. So she's like, "Oh no, I did all this for nothing." And it's kind of like trying to make this point about like preparing to, I don't know, when you're trying to have a nice day, sometimes when you're trying to force having a nice day, you end up having a nice day. Well, basically she ends up having a nice day preparing to have a nice day. She ends up having a lot more fun preparing to have the nice day than having the actual nice day. That time I think it actually made some sense. Before I don't think it made a lot of sense. But yeah, you can see the art here, for example, looks a lot more sloppier than it looks elsewhere, and usually that's to support the narrative. Uh, this last story right here is about a calculator dolphin, literally a dolphin calculator. But yeah, most of these stories are about all kinds of mundane things, and but they just have this sense of surrealism to it. And there's one where they find a ghost. There's one where she has a job breaking coconuts open. That's literally her job. And then she's wondering like, how are we making energy out of these coconuts? And then there's a twist at the end to that. I don't want to give away all the twists. But yeah, this is a really fun book. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was super wholesome, and and I figured this is a good book for a first review. Even though it's a little bit hard to talk about with all the surreal stuff going on, but since there is not really much of a story, I don't really have to worry about spoilers or anything like that. I figured it would be kind of easy to talk about. Because I've been wanting to talk about some other books, like I finished Pluto recently, but that's something that's a little bit harder to talk about. And that's something that if I were to make a review, I'd be a lot more. It would feel a lot more like a review, if that makes sense. Even though I actually don't have many criticisms about that. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel this trepidation about just making reviews, especially for things that I really like, because I feel like I won't do it justice. And yeah, that's why you don't see a lot of content to this channel, because sometimes I feel like I don't really want to do it because I know I'm not going to do it justice unless I put in a lot of effort. And I'd rather just keep my YouTube as something fun for me to talk to you guys and unwind. But yeah, if you enjoy that, leave a like, leave some comments on names for the series. I would like to put my own kind of brand on this review style. So I don't know, like something like that. I don't know, like manga discussion. I don't know. I'll probably end up doing some sort of first impressions and things for things that are not like complete. But for complete things, which I would prefer to talk about complete things most of the time. But for complete things, I lost my train of thought. I think that's a sign to end this video. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this is a good length, 12 minutes for one volume. I think that's fairly reasonable for my standards, at least. I'll try to keep it short. If it's a longer series, it might be longer, but yeah. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment, subscribe, that kind of stuff, and I'll see you later. Hopefully more videos like this to come. Bye.